And the man who knows about windfalls. We're joined by Chris Tarrant. Welcome to the programme.
It's a little late, isn't it?
Oh, for us, this is early. The night has barely begun. We'll still be on the dance floor at Lulu's in 4 hours' time. Let me ask you this. When your show, you are handing out large sums of money to people who won. Did you ever wonder what they do with it?
It's none of my business. What was kind of weird in the early days, and there was no reason why, many of them saw me as a sort of moral counsellor, and they would win a lot of money, whether it was £100,000 or whatever. They would then send me a postcard. Sometimes it was like, look at me, I'm lying on the beach in Tenerife and you're stuck in London in the cold and whatever. But then quite often it was, this is what I've done with the money. Chris, I didn't waste it. I bought a new car that I talked about. I took the kids on their first ever holiday. Whatever. It's almost like I didn't go mad with it, Chris.
And they had something to prove to you.
Yeah, which I didn't ask for or expect. I always thought that was quite sweet. I mean, one or two of them blew it. And you think, it's your money, why not?
Could you spot those? Could you spot the Viv Nicholsons?
I think you could. I think realistically, not necessarily, always, but I think you could. Because there's a kind of gung-ho, like, come on, CT, let's go for it. I feel lucky tonight, You could see some of that. But I mean, realistically, most of the time with that bluff and bravado are mainly blokes, not women. Mainly blokes who look at me, look at me. They would blow it at some point during the climb and they would lose the money.
Were there some, did you see, that struggled to know what to do with this windfall?
No, none at all. None at all. I mean, they had it pre-planned of what they were going to do and whatever, whether it was...
Oh, really? They had already had ideas?
Yeah, because a standard question was, Andrew, Michael, whatever, what are you going to do if we win $1 million? And they would have sort of plotted it out. They didn't expect, very few came there expecting to win £1 million. There was always the possibility, but no, not really. I mean, people would say, and you have to keep things, and this, bear in mind, we started in 1998. And people would say, if I could just get £8,000, that would change my life.
Yes.
Now, realistically, it doesn't seem like a lot of money. 1998 to 2014, when we finished, 15 years, £1 million was really still a huge amount of unattainable money.
Still a lot today.
Tax-free.
And tax-free. Do you think that people treat, if you've worked hard over a number of years for £1 million, and the other way is you just get it as a windfall by winning in a game show. Do you think you treat that second million more differently from if you'd had to work for it?
No, I think you're here once. I've never had a problem with people winning money. I mean, you're here once in your life, whether you're Michael, Alan, you, me, or whatever. Whatever you choose to do to keep ahead of the game, you do it. And I think if you win £1 million on a TV show or whatever, good luck to you. And your family. Did
the climate change for this sort of show with the crash in 2008, with the recession?
I'll tell you an interesting thing. When we did, I always preferred, maybe one of the reasons why we eventually finished, but we had a pretty long run.
You certainly did.
I always preferred what we called the punter shows, the people. I preferred that to celebrities. When we had, the great celebrities, the Stephen Fry's and the Alex Fergusons and George Michael, be fantastic. But we never quite went down the road of, The Only Way is Essex or Geordie Shore or whatever. And thank God. But, and I loved just members of the public winning money because it meant so much more to them. You could tell, oh, Chris, I've just won £16,000 or whatever. The last series we did of members of the public, and I really loved those shows, and I kind of fought with the production people to get some more of those back on rather than celebrities. I was deeply disappointed with the amount of people getting to say £4,000, and I'm going, yeah, OK, you still got to... No, I'll take the money. This was during the last sort of recession, sort of 4 years ago, whatever.
Because just to have that...
Very noticeable.
A bird in the hand.
And the last series of members of the public shows I did was a disaster. In every way, it was a disaster. And very disappointing. All right, by game show standards, it's still a huge amount of money. But I gave away something like £40,000 in 3 nights. Now, normally, Millionaire averaged, over 15 years, we gave away on average just over £100,000 a night. So in 3 nights, I gave away 40 grand. And I was like, and they're saying, you see, members of the public shows don't work. And I was going, but it was because of that. And I can't say to someone, come on, Andrew, come on. You got £8,000, go on, give it a go, mate.
You've got to go for the 16.
You've got to go,
Politicians like windfalls. I mean,
Life is a windfall.
we were talking earlier about how the sale of council houses was a big windfall for the Thatcher government.
Yeah.
Mrs. Thatcher had a windfall tax on banks, which people forget, and the Labour government had a windfall tax on the utilities.
And this thing about annuities may be seen as a bit of a windfall for people to take their annuities and spend it. I think politicians like landslides more than windfalls, you know.
Michael, quick thought from you?
Well, I think the annuities is the big windfall question of the future. Because by comparison with the situation that people face, which was that they would be obliged to buy an annuity, which would give them a pretty miserable income because of very low interest rates, they're now going to have the opportunity to have this very large sum of money and either to spend it or to invest it as they wish. I very much hope that they will invest it better than they would have invested in the annuity, but it is going to transform the wealth profile of a generation.
Fancy doing Who Wants to Be a Billionaire?
They did in America. America, of course, they did Who Wants to Be a Super Duper Millionaire? They paid for 10 million.
Wow.
And that was exciting.
That's called inflation.
It is called inflation.
Chris, thank you very much. Good
My
to see
pleasure.
you tonight. Thank you.